That would be excellent.
Well, I guess start with greatest challenges. I actually came here, they asked me to share your opinions as a student. They didn't really say very much what they wanted me to talk about. But I had this idea, and I had it, and then on the videos actually started saying the same thing. Pretty much that students, they care about education, they care about their own education, but they have a hard time caring about the school. I mean, it's really hard to sit in a classroom for 7 hours a day and listen to lectures and really retrieve all the information. It's really hard to care about going the extra mile when you know exactly how much you need to do to get the grade you want. For myself, I know I'm going to try to achieve for an A in every class, but if I know I'm going to get an A and doing this little extra work will get me a little bit better A, I don't really care. I'll just take the A and I'll leave. I'll leave it at that. Or I'll take what I can get. But the fact of the matter is, I'm only willing to try as hard as I really want to set myself. But now going on to opportunities. There are certain things out there that really inspire myself and other students around me. Things like clubs as far as like robotics club, cyber defense, virtual reality. Those are the things that I'm interested in. Those are the things I'm willing to spend 5 hours after school working on with my fellow students and I'll go to calculus class and learn the mathematics to really build these virtual realities. Not because it was forced at me, not because my parents said you have to go to school, you have to get an education, you have to go to college. It's because I want to do the things that I see can be done. I want to do things that I want to do. And I realize now, to do those things, I have to go get an education and learn this calculus stuff. But I learn a lot better almost out of the classroom, away from the lectures, and in my own studies. And I think that's a problem. And I think we need to utilize some of the opportunities we have.
That's going to be a hard act to follow there. I'm going to take one for the team here. You guys when I think of challenges, as a principal, I can't remember the last time a parent called and talked to me about their child not learning. I get lots of calls about why is my child getting a D in class or an F. And I think one of the things we have to think differently about is, are we preparing our students to regurgitate information? Or are we preparing them to be learners? And the fact that what we're teaching kids to learn things that they don't even know what they need yet. Because the fact is, when they walk out of Kirkwood or the University of Iowa or into the workforce, many of the technologies that we're preparing them for have not been invented yet. So the idea that we are focusing on content, we need to have more focus on learning, being a good learner. My son, who's a 5th grader, loves to play a game. Dad, ask me any question. I don't care what the question is, ask me. And he gets on Google and he Googles it and he finds some answer that often is correct, even if I don't know the right answer. I have to Google it myself. When we talk to our kids, one of the things we're really trying to do is create a situation where kids are passionate about what they're doing. This young man is passionate about what he's doing. If you stepped out here and spent 5 minutes with him, he taught me more about VREP, which I didn't even know what it stood for, to be honest. And he working, after hours doing that. That's what it's all about. Having kids that are engaged in their learning, passionate about what they're doing, and really personalizing the learning. The factory model of having a cookie cutter that every kid gets basically the same thing because they're in 5th grade or 8th grade, that's over. It's got to be done. It's not what we should be doing. It makes me sick, actually. I mean, some kids need something like this to bring to school. Some kids still need this. Some kids need a laptop. Some kids need a smartphone. Whatever the tool is. I was listening to a study or a radio broadcast on the way to work this morning talking about ADHD kids related to video games. We're taking kids that come from being tuned into multimedia and setting them in a desk and saying, you're going to learn from me and I'm going to talk to you. That's not working anymore. I had a teacher a couple years ago say the kids look at me like they want me to perform. They do. Their video games perform. So the idea of putting tools I'm not saying that every kid needs to have a computer to be successful, but we need to give kids access to technology and have them do things in a different way. So we're tying into their passion and what they're enthusiastic about. So we have a chance to really have them engaged in their learning, and that's what it should really be about.
Katie, you just want us to go down the road?
Sure, sure.
Okay. I'm going to speak a little more globally, although he hit it right on the nail on the head. I think our schools, and I've always said that, should be opportunity systems. I think all too often we forget who we're there to serve, and it's the students. We're not there to serve the legislators. We're not there to serve the faculty. We're not there to serve the parents. We're there to serve that student to make sure that they have what they need. And if that's something different than what it is now, then I think we should do that. But that creates all the problems in the world. We can't put them through lockstep like we have in the past. So if you think about it, I think what we need to create are knowledge workers. If you think about the economy and tying schools and K-12s and community colleges and 4 years, we need to produce knowledge workers that can go into the world of work and succeed at a very high level. And what that means is that when they graduate from high school, they need to be ready to go to a community college or a college, because everybody needs post-high school education. And so I remember when I was a superintendent for 23 years. The middle school teachers complained that the elementary weren't getting the kids ready for middle school. And the high school teachers were complaining that the community college, we complain that the high schools aren't getting the students ready. Okay, we've got to get out of the blame game, and we need to get into actively solving it and taking a look at how do we do that. At the present time, about 75% of the students that come to us are not ready for a high school, are not ready for a college level math class. 75%. That's improved 10% over the last 3 years, which is great. So we're on the right track. About 90% are ready in the reading and language arts. And I think that has a lot to do with the 4 years of 4 years of English that are required. But again, as we look at it, we're going to have limited resources. We have to deal with the poverty issue. We always have to be looking at the possibilities rather than looking at the downside of, okay, if you try to solve all the world problems at once, we're never going to do it. We need to take each thing and take a look at it separately and go. So what do I see the opportunities? I see them in partnerships. And I'll give you one example. Jones Regional Education Center. We have 8 K-12s that send their students for a half a day to that facility. We're now in talks with another one of those campuses in Marion. That would be Marion, Lidmar, Cedar Rapids schools, and some of the other smaller K-12s right around that. We're having the same conversation with the University of Iowa at their Oakdale campus. And it would be the Iowa City, Clear Creek, different K-12s in that area that would be in that campus. Same thing down in Washington. There's 7 K-12s that are interested in doing a regional campus. Okay, that is an opportunity system in my mind. Students that are ready for early college. We should be having more students that when they graduate from Kirkwood with a 2-year degree, they should be getting their high school diploma that next weekend. There are some that are ready for that. But you have to look at each subset, you have to look at each area of need, and they're all different. Oh, I see I'm getting the word here, okay.